I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that.
I was
I'm asking
there,
you
Congressman.
were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret Service
that's a bunch
member.
of horse.
And they shut up and get out. I warn the honourable member that if there's protesting carrying out, just shut up a minute. Just somebody walk.
You understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money.
If you believe that, it's okay with me. They get their money.
Pulling above.
Oh, okay.
Fuck Elon Musk and fuck Donald Trump.
Politics in games, man. What a topic. What a topic. Now, it seems to be a bit of a misunderstanding about what people mean when they say, I don't want politics. I don't want politics in my games. People think that they don't want any politics in their games, which means you basically can't even have a normal conversation. You have like no background story to the world you're in. Basically, shit, I don't even know if you can play Mario without politics in the game because there's a princess. So technically, you know? But yeah, I don't think we'll understand what people mean when they say, I don't want politics in my game. Let me give you an example of politics in games that are completely fine. Okay, Elder Scrolls, and we'll go into detail about them. We'll go into detail. Elder Scrolls, all of them basically. But the ones I played, Skyrim and ESO, they have a lot of politics in it. Your main campaign, aside like not with the the hooded figure, whatever his name is. Now, not when you're not dealing with the devil. The whole campaign of each faction is literally politics. Okay, the Warcraft series 1, 2, 3, like the strategy game, and I'm not even sure so much. I mean, technically, yeah, the MRPG technically is political as well because you have two warring factions, right? They're all political. StarCraft, political. Manx, oh my god, you know. Age of Empires, literally literally politics, like war and politics. That's all it is, right? Fable, you know. Good choices, bad choices, become the king. Politics. Final Fantasy XIV, the whole Garlemald and Eorzea. That is very heavy political, right? Just political ideas, stuff like that. Civilization, you're basically playing a politician, right? Risk, Monopoly. It's like, how is Monopoly politics? Monopoly is politics because when there's like less players on the table or more players, doesn't matter, you're gonna start making some deals with your friends to take down some other guy. That is unfortunately politics. Call of Duty. Now the only one I played the story of is Modern Warfare 2. Okay. That is very political. You killed some people in a mall. You were found out to be U.S. agents. Then Russia sends like a, what do you call it? An EMP onto Washington. Washington becomes a war zone. Fantastic game, right? Very political, a political drive. Metal Gear Solid. Now I need to play those games, but I understood some of the stuff in that. Very heavily political, very heavily political. Now, what is the difference between games like this, games with politics, and games that are people saying that are political? Now that we realize that there is politics in a lot of games, what is it that people are misunderstanding? Let's go to our good friend Twitter. So let's see. Keeping politics out of games would mean no Bioshock, no Skyrim, Fallout with all its humor gone, Metal Gear with no story. Okay, so he understands that that is political, but he doesn't understand what people mean keeping politics out. Prism. What doesn't count as politics in video games according to gamers? Wars in many forms, relations between governing bodies, exploitation of underclasses, fighting for military forces. What does count as political is gay people existing and women not being subservient or docile. People think that women not being subservient or docile means that that's what people want in their games. Like, that's the politics they want in their games. May I present Lara Croft, Tomb Raider? Last I checked, that is a female protagonist, extremely successful with the male audience. Honestly, back in the days when women thought gamers were lame. They still should think that we are fucking lame. Anyways, disparity. When they say don't put politics in games, what they really mean, put my insert political group politics in games. Actually, funny enough, that is the opposite of what they want. Because if you're just affirming their beliefs in the game, you're not challenging their mind, therefore the game will actually be a lot more boring. Okay? Like, you have to play with the politics. It's not that games suddenly became political in recent years, it's that politics in games were more readily accepted or ignored in the past. No social media to rile people up for or against them. It was just what you got sometimes. He's not wrong, but he's not right. Like, he's missing the point. And of course, who could forget about Greg Miller literally making a speech in front of gaming companies saying fuck Elon Musk and fuck Donald Trump. Very brave. There's something so inherently wrong with this. Why did you have to bring politics into this? Why couldn't the gaming be focused on gaming? By the way, this would be just as cringe if they said the opposite on against Biden. Okay? But again, the whole thing of like fuck Joe Biden in the football games, right? Which is not so related to gaming, but it's kind of like a cultural thing. The only reason that even started, the only reason people are political even in those games is because what's his name? Kaepernick took the knee or some shit like that. Which I still don't understand the meaning of. But as soon as politics entered the scene, you're gonna get more and more political on it. People will start to distinguish themselves more so than just by their team's jersey. Like, they brought upon themselves, really. Haha, yeah, make fun of Elon for cheating. Yay, gamer double. This is fine. I think making fun of Elon for cheating is fine. But then you bring politics in. I thought this was the Game Awards. Yep. So that is the problem. Making fun of Elon for cheating in a game, which is, you can take it as politics, is, however, completely fine because it's still in the context of the game. But when you say, and if you just said fuck Elon Musk, maybe you would still be okay. But it's like, as soon as you brought fuck Donald Trump into it as well, everyone knew exactly. You couldn't even try to switch it up and be like, oh, I didn't want to make it political. Like, no. If you said just fuck Elon Musk, sure, because he's a cheater. Not because he's running X, not because he's running Doge. Okay, so you just brought that into it. And then Quad Carl. I haven't played video games in 17 years because I'm paralyzed. Can somebody... How is he typing then? But, I mean, if he can type, can't he play some video games? Anyways, can somebody please explain to me how politics, woke, and DEI ruined video games? Did they put a trans soldier in Call of Duty or something? By the way, even if they did, I don't even think that would be a big deal. But to answer that question, let's talk about the games that have the politics that people don't like. And I'm going to start easy, I'm going to start with even a WTF moment. So the games that people are talking about are games that are essentially virtue signaling. It's wrong to say take politics out of my games because it's too broad. But what they should be saying is take virtue signaling. It just doesn't hit as hard. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit as hard. But yes, take virtue signaling out of my game. Okay? What is virtue signaling? The public expression of opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or social conscience, or the moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. Taking that into a gaming perspective is basically saying, this is morally right, this is morally wrong. You, as the player, don't get to play with this concept. This is just how it is. That is what is happening. That is what people don't like in their video games. This is how it is part. And this doesn't even have to be about politics. The this is how it is part is restricting gameplay. Anyways, let's talk about games that have virtue signaling, and you're gonna fry me for this one. Elden Ring has virtue signaling. Yeah, I said it. Does it really matter in Elden Ring? No. But it's there, but it doesn't matter. Overwatch has virtue signaling. Does it matter in Overwatch? Not really, but it's just more obvious. But only for people who are terminally online, who deal with this. Right? We're going to go over these examples. We're going to say why virtue signaling in this case works, and in the other, it doesn't. Veilguard. I mean, let's be real. Like, I don't even need to explain, but fuck it. You know, Concord. Yep, we all know. We all know why. All right, so why does virtue signaling work in Elden Ring? Kind of works in Overwatch. Does not work in Veilguard and Concord. In Elden Ring, the story, first of all, is convoluted. If you are just playing the game and not paying too much attention, you will actually never even understand that Marika is Radagon, that gods are male, female, they're homosexual and bisexual and heterosexual, and they're everything all at once. Why? Because they're gods. They are an entity that is not even close to reality. They're not trying to be humans. They are a complete different being. It's like saying an alien came from Mars, and it has both a vagina and a penis, and you would be like, cool, it's an alien. That's fine. Okay? Overwatch. Now, what was really virtue signaling in Overwatch? Was there really a need to say Agent 77 is gay? Was there a need to say that Tracer is lesbian? I think those are the case. I don't remember all of it, right? I think Reaper is also gay. I don't even remember. Okay, why does this really not matter? Because unless you're terminally online, you wouldn't even know this. Why? Because there's no real story in Overwatch. There is a backstory of there's not, like, you're not playing a story game. You go in, you shoot, you click quick match, you shoot, it's like the people who are interested in the lore of Overwatch are terminally online. So no one really cares. Right? That works in Overwatch. Now, why does this not work in Veilguard? Well, because the whole game revolves around the one character that everyone have to, tiptoe around to make feel good, but it doesn't add anything to the story. The game is not about Tash. The game is about Dragon Age. And yet, somehow, Tash is the focus of the game. If Tash was, what was that game? There's a game where you get followers and, let's say even Baldur's Gate, right? I was thinking about a different game, but we can use Baldur's Gate 3 for an example, okay? If you could choose your followers as you wish, it's like, hey, and whatever, and then it's like you meet Tash as one of those followers, and you're like, I can have Tash in my party, or I can just not have her in a party. There would be zero problems, aside from the gameplay, zero problems of people saying, it's like, oh, this game is too political. Because it is an option you can interact with. You don't have to if you don't want to. That would not be an issue. The problem is you are not only forced to interact with it, with her, with they, them, I don't remember. You have to interact. You cannot choose anything. You have to tiptoe around this character. Other characters tiptoe around this character. And the game is not even about the character. Or at least not supposed to be about the character. That is what people don't like. You are forcing something on them. You give them no choice in the matter. You don't give them like any way to like ignore the character. Like, I don't want to interact with this character. This character is not meant for me as a player. I don't want to interact with this character. Why is this character so in my face? That is Tosh. Okay? So, that is what is the problem here. It's not take politics out of my game. Take the virtue signaling out of my game. Now, the reason people say it's politics is just because it's all identity politics, right? Identity politics, on the whole, are very boring. They're not interesting. They're very cut and clear. You don't need to explain. There's nothing to explore. You know, I am a victim. You are an oppressor. I am the oppressed. It's black. It's white. There's no gray here. It's victim. It's owner. It's slave. It's race. It's all black and white. You know, superior race, inferior race. You have certain color person, different color person. Man, woman, trans, not trans, you know, LGBT, not LGBT. Like, it's all very black and white identity politics. There's nothing interesting about it. There's nothing to explore. If you could make a story that explores it in an interesting way. So, for example, okay, let's go into like exploring a political concept. Okay, my favorite political story favorite story as a whole in recent years, because I haven't played Metal Gear Solid, so I can't talk about that. My most liked political story would be Final Fantasy XIV. So, what politics are in Final Fantasy XIV? Well, the whole Garlemald thing, right? When we find out that the reason Garlemald is attacking Eorzea, is taking over the world, is literally because they used to be a part of the other races, but because they couldn't use magic, they were discriminated against, they were shoved to a far corner of the world to freeze to death, but they survived, and they developed, and they made technology, and now that they have power, they say, yo, fuck all you bitches that made us suffer. Now we are gonna make you suffer. It is now our turn. And you can understand that story, and you can view that story, and you can get so many assumptions and trains of thought through that story of like, okay, so maybe, you know, obviously this is like super simplistic, and like, I hope a normal person doesn't need this explaining to him, but I'm just giving an example. Maybe I shouldn't be a racist piece of shit and put some people in like a corner and abuse them and take them out of society, because that's bad. And those people will have a grudge against me. That is teaching you something, right? Like, that story teaches you, without telling you this is how it is telling you this, it is explaining to you that something is bad to do. Okay, you can draw conclusions on your own with your brain to make an assumption, to look back and be like, oh yeah, man, maybe Eorzeans were the bad guys. Now, and then you can go into thought process of like, well, yeah, maybe they were the bad guy, but it's like those people who made those decisions, or maybe like they were evil bastards, but they're no longer with us, and it's like, how can we resolve this? And it's like, is there a way to resolve something like this, that a whole race of people has been basically abused for generations, right? Their grandparents told them story of like how they kicked them out, how they treated them like shit, how they treated them as inferior. And like, how can you break this gap? How can you make these people now a part of Eorzea? It's because you can also think of it as like, oh, hey, well, now that I have power, oh, now you want to be friends. But before, when I was weak, you threw me to the dirt. So many things that you can just start thinking about just from this little conflict that happened in the past, in the story, and it doesn't tell you what is right, what is wrong. Same idea of like, are the Ascians, whatever, in Final Fantasy XIV, were they actually the bad guy? In my opinion, from their perspective, they're definitely not the bad guy. Okay? But, you know, it is what it is. They're wrong, but they're not the bad guy. But they're wrong. But doesn't mean that you're the bad guy for defeating them. Right? It's like, you know, it's an idea that you are exploring, and that is what politics in games are. It is an idea that you explore with actions within the game. Okay? The Call of Duty, when you are an agent of the US and you go into like a Russian mall and you kill a bunch of people and civilians die just to get your target, and that causes a massive war, that explores the idea of what would happen if US agents were found in Russia doing shit like that. And why, in most spy movies, if an agent is caught, he's not a citizen of any country. He doesn't exist. It's like, oh, well, but you look American. Well, it's like, well, America doesn't say that he is theirs. He's not, they don't claim him. Okay? It makes you think about scenario situation. That is what politics in games is supposed to do. Skyrim, which one should I choose? The Empire or the Viking guys, right? I forgot their name, right? Which one should I choose? Both have pluses, both have negatives. Both might be right on some aspect, both might be wrong on some aspect. Some will not fit with your personality, some would. And it gives you the choice to think, what kind of person am I? What is for the greater good? Or do I just want to kill both of them and be done with it and fuck politics? Okay? It lets you think. Virtue signaling does not let you think. It just tells you things how is. Veilguard, they, them, do push-ups because saying sorry is not enough. Concord. Oh my god, let's get into Concord. Let's not get too much into Concord, okay? But like, let's get a bit into Concord, okay? So I'm gonna compare Concord to Overwatch quite a bit, because honestly it's the same genre of games, okay? What makes Overwatch popular? Let's say they had the exact same gameplay, okay? What do you think would make Concord not as popular as Overwatch? And we all know, obviously, it's the appearance of the characters. But why? Why would the appearance of the characters not make it very popular? Well, when you go to the movies, like, let me ask you this. When you go to the movies, to a superhero movie, right? Go to a superhero movie. Let's say you go to Endgame. And in Endgame, after that 5 years passed, right? Imagine that all of the heroes, they lost hope. 5 years, man. Thanos snapped his finger. Okay? And within those 5 years, everyone got fat. Not just Thor. Everybody got fat. And like, you know, like fucking their back hurts or whatever. Do you think that movie would do good? Like realistically. Unless it's a comedy. If you made like a comedy out of Endgame instead of like the actual Endgame, you made like a satirical comedy where like in 5 years everybody just got fat and whatever. And then Thanos came and he just finished the job. You know, like, well, he wouldn't, because they wouldn't go back in time because they're too fucking fat and lazy to do anything. But that would not be much of a movie, you know? Won't be very interesting. That is the difference between Overwatch and Concord. Concord is interesting because the characters make sense. The characters are appealing, they look good, they make sense. You want to play as those characters and their game style. Okay? you have a character, a fat character in Overwatch, Hog or whatever. Hog is honestly comic relief. Okay, Hog is comic relief in Overwatch. He's funny, you know, like his lines are kind of funny, all that stuff, right? He's amusing, you know. He tilts the enemy team because of the pool, but he's amusing. Okay, most highlights with him are actually like entertaining, like they're funny, right? He pulls and he shotguns people to the face. That's kind of funny. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Maybe like not after you watched 100 times, but it's kind of funny on a whole. Tell me, how do you make this character funny? Because we all know that making fun of this character will label you misogynist, fatphobic, whatever, right? No one will defend this character. Like, you can make fun of these two assholes and that'll be fine. But if you make fun of this, okay, you're in for, like, you know, Twitter harassment. Okay, so you can't make fun of this. Okay, does this character do anything really special? Does she like roll? No, that would be too offensive. We can't make it offensive for, you know, for our people. Like that is too much. So like, what's the point? Okay, this character. This is probably one of the only characters. Maybe there's one more. Let's see. Maybe. Garbage can. I don't even know. Okay, so yeah, out of all the characters, you know what? Asteroid Chick is also fine. Okay, so you have 3 characters. And realistically, only one. But you have 3 characters that you could make appealing outside. Meanwhile, let's look at Overwatch. What do people like about Overwatch 2? Like, the community as a whole. Like, forget, like, you have the gameplay and whatever. You have the community as a whole. What do people like here? Oh, look. Oh, it's a cute, semi-sexy, you know, portrayal of something. Okay? I don't know how old she is, but, like, we all know the intention here with the super high skirt. Okay? This, kind of funny. Okay, I don't even know. Is this Reaper in a wedding dress? I don't know. I don't know the characters. I think that looks like Reaper. Tracer, kind of funny because she has a time ability. You get it? So it's like she goes back in time and tells them where the attackers are. Okay. Cute, my drawing. Okay. Cute, semi-hot, sexy kind of thing, you know, with like the short skirt, the knives on the thighs, you know, thick thighs, nice thighs, whatever, right? Okay. Again, hot character. I'm assuming, I don't know, sheep person, whatever, you know, hot stuff, you know, funny stuff. Okay, hot stuff, hot funny, whatever. Okay. Do you think people wanna make hot content of these? This one is probably the only one. Right? Let's say you go to a convention. You go to a convention, gaming convention. Do you think anyone is dressing up like this? I can see some dude making fun of this and just making a cosplay out of this character. Okay? But do you honestly think people are gonna be cosplaying this? And don't forget, what is the purpose of cosplaying? Attention. Like, yeah, you also do it for fun, sure, whatever. Let's be real. The only reason cosplaying became popular to begin with is because it draws attention. It's hot chicks walking around half naked, if that, right? Looking hot, okay? By the way, men did not ask for cosplayers. They're asking for it now, but they didn't ask for like hot chicks walking around naked in conventions. But when Jessica Nigri started doing it and made it very, very popular, I don't know if she was the first one, but like that kind of brought it on the map. That's when like people start wanting it more. So do you really think anyone wants to look at these characters? Maybe this one you can make kind of hot, right? Like, anyone wants to like see these characters in real life? Like, let's be real. You don't. This one you can make hot. Let's be real. You can make her hot. easily. But yeah, so like Concord, what is the politics of Concord? Fat bitches, ugly characters, no one wants to play them. Right? And the thing is, even if the gameplay was phenomenal, the community would not stay because there is no appeal to these characters outside of the game. So the gameplay has to be so good that people would want to play it, first of all. But if the characters are unappealing, nobody would want to look like them, be them outside of the game. Therefore, once they had their fill of the game, they will not stay. The thing that builds games is having a community for those games. People who do cool, funky, quirky things, hot things, sexy things, make drawings, go to Pornhub and fucking make videos of those characters, okay? This is what keeps the community engaged and wants to play the game. They feel connected to the world. Ain't nobody connecting to this shit. And that's why it failed. It's not appealing. The gameplay wasn't even that good. It wasn't anything unique. I'm not even going to say if it was bad or good. It wasn't unique, right? Why is Marvel's Rivals, why is that doing so well? Well, you're playing as a superhero. Do these guys look like superheroes? Let's see here. Yeah, they kind of do. Why? Nice, bulky, hot, sexy, musculars. It's like, oh, they kind of look like superheroes. Oh, they didn't have to break the bank. Is Marvel Rivals political compared to Concord? Because it's the same game, but how come Marvel Rivals is not political, but Concord is? Guess what? Technically, they're both political. They are both political. But Marvel Rivals doesn't fight nature. Marvel Rivals know that people consider hot chicks hot and buff dudes good, like what they want to be. Like, guys like buff dudes. Guys want to be He-Man. They don't want to be turd. Okay, fat turd. Don't want to be this. This maybe, some of them. This is a power lifter. But it's like you don't have enough variety of like average looking dude, not interesting. This one can be like like a Joker type, like a comic relief with like a smart, witty shit, okay? But they're so blah, they're so plain. Nothing interesting about these characters. Meanwhile, muscle, hot chicks. It's not rocket science. It's very, very simple what people want. And I was going to say what guys want, but like what people want. Women want this. You think a woman is not going to cosplay as this bitch? Whoever she is. You think a woman's not going to cosplay as her? Understand the target audience. But anyways, back to the point. Politics in games. It's not politics. It is virtue signaling. If you could make this interesting, I mean, this is a shooter, so it's not even a story game. But if you could somehow make it so this world makes this make sense within our understanding as a human species, it would be okay. But you cannot. You cannot make this okay. Why? Because people still have common sense. They know being overly obese is not healthy. Ain't no way this bitch is running around a battlefield because we all played softball or paintball at some point and realized that we can only last for like 30 seconds running from one cover to the other before we fucking lose our breath and start huffing and puffing and having a heart attack. Okay? Ain't no way this bitch is moving from where she spawns to the enemy base. Okay? While running for cover, hiding, crawling, kneeling, and all that shit. No, she's not moving. She's walking, hopefully, taking breaks in between. Okay? That's reality. Now, if you can make a world where that is not reality, I don't know, low gravity world, and everybody's fat, and it kind of makes sense, maybe. Like, man, it's like fucking maybe. It doesn't make sense. You have to make sense, man. So when people say we don't want politics in our games, that is what we mean. The politics is just the virtue signal. You're trying to tell us something. You're not trying to teach us anything. You're trying to tell us this is how it is. And no, I'm telling you, that is not how it is. Everybody knows that it's not how it is. Okay? Try. Listen here. Listen here. Okay, I can't move my camera any closer. You cannot bring blank statements into a game. Tell me this is how it is, and then expect me to accept it. That is not how humans work. Everything you're trying to change requires very careful manipulation. You have to explain it in extraordinary detail. You have to make the person think that that is the right thing. You cannot tell a person, this is how it is, accept it. Because they'll tell you, fuck you.
Look at him. Hey, fatty boom boom. Hey, fatty boom boom. Hey, want another cream cake? Boing, boing, boing.